All right, I am here with Dr. Dan Green, who is Executive Director of New Life Resources, and personally has become a really good friend over a couple of years with me because he's my counselor, and I've learned so much from him. And so I thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to sit down and just talking about this unique season that we're in. And Dr. Green, let's talk about this a little bit. There's so many things going on right now with just the virus and financial stuff, social, political stuff going on. Talk about the impact that this has had on our mental health.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Mark. And yeah, you're right. There is a lot going on, and it's having a very significant impact on our mental health. In March, when we first started to have to make life changes because of COVID, about 32% of the United States population of adults was identifying significant challenges with mental health issues. Now that's up from 11% before that. And by July, which is the latest numbers that I have, it was up to 53%. More than 1 out of 2 of us are struggling with more anxiety, more features of depression, worry that seems out of control, etc. Slightly more women than men, but both in the 50-55% range are reporting this. And depressions, anxieties are 3 to 4 times the rate we used to see them before COVID and the other challenges that are before us. About a third of us are really struggling with sleeping difficulties, with changes in our appetites, drug use, other abuse of alcohol, etc., is up about 4-fold from where it was before then. And even chronic physical conditions that were challenging before are reported to be much more difficult to manage now. And one alarming number is there is about a 4 times increase in the number of people who have suicidal thoughts, suicidal impulses. Truly, this is a tough time.
I mean, obviously we talk about, there's many factors that are happening right now in our lives, all kind of converging at once.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the deeper causes of some of those things that you just talked about?
Oh, there's many causes that are relevant. The social isolation is probably the most obvious. We're designed to know and be known, to love and be loved, to be in community. And now, when we get together with each other, we look, are you infected? Am I safe? Stay at home, be safe, decreases the virus transmission, but has cost us in terms of meeting these very basic human needs that we have. Social isolation contributes to anxiety, contributes to depression, it distresses us. The unknown, the unpredictable, one of the biggest is, when will this end? We don't have a clue. We don't know. Somebody tells us when it's going to end. No, they don't know either. The unpredictability of, will I still have a job? Will my finances be sufficient? What's happening in our city? What's happening in our government, etc.? All of these unpredictable features are contributing to a high level of fear. Now, fear also includes fear of the disease possibility for me, for my loved ones, but fear for my job, fear for my culture, fear for my community. The loss of routine, the things that we have done that comfort us, they're disrupted. For months, I worked just out of my home office. Hardly drove my car for quite a while. Everything that I had done that had brought predictability and order was disrupted for so many of us. For many of us, boredom's hard to cope with. Things that we used to do that were of interest, that would bring meaning and purpose, not available, disrupted. The losses have been so much. For some, loss of a loved one, loss of health, loss of job, loss of health insurance, loss of opportunity, loss of the things that mark our summer. We didn't go to the festivals. We didn't do Summerfest. We didn't go to the weddings. Some we didn't go to the funerals. so many losses. And then on top of this, we've had such conflicting messages. How dangerous is it? What should we do to stay healthy, et cetera, et cetera, all these conflicting messages. It has been a time of great chaos and loss.
You know, you just talked about all these different statistics as far as things like anxiety and fear and just all that stuff. It can be so hard to recognize some of those things in ourselves. What are some things? What are some ways we can recognize some of that in ourselves?
Uh-huh.
What should we be looking for?
Well, in general, when I feel distressed, when I feel agitated, angst, upset, those are all signals something's not right. I need to adjust something. And so that state of uneasiness is a clue. The way God's designed us, we have these inner experiences, noticing our body, noticing our emotions. And the uncomfortableness is a motivation to change something. But it also is manifested in things like increased irritation, less patience, increased conflict with others, more easily angered. Other important markers are things like disruption in sleep or appetite, changes in our energy level, either what's more common, lack of energy, like our batteries need to be changed, or increased energy, way too much. If we have a decline in interest in things that used to draw our attention, we used to find satisfaction with, that's also an important sign. Pulling away from others, and something I've noticed with some people is as we were coming out of our safe at home precautions, some people just sort of expressed a lack of interest. It's like it's too much work, or it's disappointing to be with others, and they stayed in more isolation. And then, of course, changes in our use of alcohol or other mood-altering substances or other activities, trying to comfort ourselves in these ways. When we have a change in our use of these, that's a red flag for us.
Okay. One final question, Dr. Green. And this is, for me, a little bit of a, this can be a loaded question, okay? Because when I ask this question, we can turn into people that just start diagnosing everybody else, okay? But we're around loved ones who are dealing with the same things that we are, okay? How can we recognize some of these struggles in them?
Mm-hmm. And we'll recognize these struggles in them by seeing what I just described, particularly as we experience them relating to us in a way differently than they used to. If they're more quiet, more withdrawn, we may want to just reach out a little more and be with them a little more. If they're more angered, irritable, we might want to give them an opportunity to share more and help them unpack some of the things that are troubling them, letting them know that they're not alone. And this is a very challenging time we're in. We need to be together.
Well, Dr. Green, I want to thank you for your time. Hey, listen, if you're just checking this out, this is actually the first of many weeks that we're going to spend talking about this with Dr. Green. And so I want to encourage you to share this information with a friend or someone you love that is is wrestling with some of these issues. Or I want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as next week we're going to get together with Dr. Green again, and we're going to talk about just some of the practical things, bring it real practical, some of the practical things that we can do as we kind of meander through this very, very challenging season. We'll see you next week.